If your heart is tired from worrying about money, this prayer is not reaching you by accident. There are moments in life when the burden becomes too heavy, when the mind cannot rest, when the night feels longer than usual, and when every thought seems to return to the same question: how will I manage? How will I pay? How will I survive this season? But listen carefully, because this moment is not only about money. This moment is about faith. This moment is about trust. This moment is about bringing your tired heart before the God who sees what no one else sees. Maybe you have smiled in front of people while secretly carrying pressure inside. Maybe you have told others, "I am fine." But deep in your heart, you know you are fighting a battle they cannot see. Maybe you have bills waiting, responsibilities pressing, family needs increasing, and your own strength decreasing. But I want you to understand something with faith. Your situation may be difficult, but it is not greater than God. Your bank account may look limited, your opportunities may look closed, your plans may look delayed, but heaven is not limited by what you see today. God is able to change a story that people thought was finished. God is able to open a door that no human hand can open. God is able to send help from places you did not expect, through people you did not know, at a time you did not plan. When God decides to move, He does not need perfect conditions. He does not need your life to be organized before He blesses you. He does not need the approval of people before He provides for you. He only asks for a heart that will trust Him, even when the eyes cannot yet see the answer. So before this prayer begins, I want you to prepare your heart. Do not listen casually. Do not listen with fear. Do not listen while saying, "Nothing will change." No, listen with faith. Listen as someone who believes that God still hears prayer. Listen as someone who believes that the same God who provided before can provide again. Listen as someone who is ready to stop carrying the burden alone and place it completely into the hands of the one who cares for you. This is not about chasing money. This is not about greed. This is about asking God for peace, wisdom, provision, open doors, debt relief, favor, and the strength to walk through this financial season without losing your faith. Because sometimes the greatest miracle is not only that money comes into your hand, but that fear leaves your heart. Sometimes the breakthrough begins not outside you, but inside you, when you finally say, "God, I cannot carry this anymore. I give it to you." And if you are listening right now with a heavy heart, I want you to know this. You are not forgotten. God has not ignored your prayers. God has not overlooked your tears. God has not abandoned your family. Even when the answer seems delayed, God is still working. Even when the door seems closed, God is still preparing. Even when your situation looks impossible, God is still able. So take a deep breath. Quiet your thoughts. Release the fear. Release the panic. Release the shame. You are not here by accident. This prayer may be the moment your faith rises again. This may be the moment your heart stops drowning in worry and starts standing in expectation. Believe that God can change your financial story. Believe that He can bring peace where there has been pressure. Believe that He can bring provision where there has been lack. Believe that He can turn your pain into testimony, your worry into worship, and your struggle into a new beginning. Now, with faith in your heart, listen carefully, because God is about to remind you that your situation is not bigger than His power. God sees every silent tear, every unpaid bill, and every hidden financial pressure. Even when nobody around you understands the weight you are carrying, God understands it completely. There are burdens people can see, and there are burdens you carry quietly in your heart. Some people only see your smile, your daily routine, your normal face, your ordinary words, but they do not see the storm inside your mind when the night becomes quiet. They do not see how many times you have calculated the same amount again and again, hoping somehow the numbers will change. They do not see the pressure that comes when bills are waiting, deadlines are approaching, responsibilities are increasing, and your strength feels like it is decreasing. But God sees. God sees the worry behind your silence. God sees the fear behind your tired eyes. God sees the pressure you hide, because you do not want to disturb anyone, disappoint anyone, or look weak in front of anyone. There are moments when financial pressure does not only affect your pocket, it affects your peace, your sleep, your confidence, your relationships, and even your prayer life. You may begin the day trying to be strong, but deep inside your heart is asking, how long can I keep going like this? You may go to work, speak to people, answer messages, complete responsibilities, and still carry a heaviness that nobody notices. You may sit with your family and still feel alone inside because your mind is somewhere else, thinking about payments, rent, school fees, debt, loans, medical expenses, family needs, business problems, job uncertainty, or the fear of not having enough. But I want you to hear this clearly. The pressure may be hidden from people, but it is never hidden from God. Sometimes people think that if no one sees their struggle, then no one cares. But God is not like people. People may overlook you. People may misjudge you. People may think you are fine because you look fine. People may not know the sacrifices you are making. They may not know the things you have postponed, the dreams you have delayed, the needs you have ignored, or the tears you have wiped away before anyone could notice. But God knows every detail. He knows the amount you need. He knows the deadline you are facing. He knows the fear that tries to enter your heart when you look at your situation. He knows the prayers you whispered when you had no more words. He knows the moments when you wanted to cry but held yourself together. He knows the strength it took for you to keep moving when everything inside you felt exhausted. And because God sees, you do not have to pretend before Him. You do not have to come to Him with polished words. You do not have to hide your fear, your confusion, or your pain. You can come honestly and say, God, I am tired. God, I am worried. God, I do not know what to do next. God, I need your help. That kind of prayer is powerful because it comes from the real place of the heart. Many times, people think prayer must be perfect before God will listen, but God is not looking for perfect words. He is looking for a sincere heart. A broken voice can reach heaven. A silent tear can become a prayer. A tired heart can still touch the heart of God. Financial pressure can make you feel ashamed, as if your struggle means you have failed. But do not allow shame to silence your prayer. Struggle does not mean you are abandoned. Delay does not mean God has denied you. Lack does not mean your life has no value. Difficulty does not mean your story is over. Many people go through seasons where they feel stretched beyond their strength. But those seasons can become places where faith becomes deeper, prayer becomes stronger, and dependence on God becomes more real. When you come to God with your financial burden, you are not begging a stranger. You are speaking to the one who knows you, loves you, and cares for you more deeply than you can understand. God sees not only the bills on the table, but also the burden on your heart. He sees not only the money you need, but also the fear you want to be free from. He sees not only the problem outside you, but also the anxiety inside you. And sometimes, before God changes the situation around you, He begins by strengthening the spirit within you. He gives you peace when the numbers still look the same. He gives you courage when the answer has not yet arrived. He gives you wisdom to make the right decision. He gives you patience to wait without losing faith. He gives you strength to stand when fear wants you to collapse. There may be people listening right now who have been praying for financial relief for a long time. You have asked God for an open door. You have asked Him for favor. You have asked Him for a better job, a new opportunity, a way to clear debt, a way to support your family, a way to breathe again. And because the answer has not appeared the way you expected, the enemy may be whispering, God did not hear you. But that is not true. God hears what you cannot explain. God hears what you cannot say out loud. God hears the prayer beneath your tears. God hears the cry behind your silence. Even when heaven feels quiet, God is not absent. Even when the answer feels delayed, God is not careless. Even when your heart feels forgotten, God is still near. You must understand that your financial story is not only about what you lost, what you owe, or what you lack. It is also about what God can restore, what God can provide, and what God can teach you through this season. God can turn pressure into preparation. He can turn lack into testimony. He can turn worry into worship. He can turn a difficult season into a doorway for a new beginning. The same God who sees your tears also has the power to dry them. The same God who sees your unpaid bills also has the power to make provision come in ways you did not expect. The same God who sees your hidden pressure also has the power to lift the weight from your heart and lead you into peace. So do not think your tears are wasted. Do not think your prayers are ignored. Do not think your struggle is invisible. Every silent cry has been seen. Every heavy night has been noticed. Every moment you kept going when you wanted to give up has been known by God. He has seen your faithfulness in the middle of pressure. He has seen your effort when things were not easy. He has seen you trying, working, praying, believing, and holding on. And now, as you bring this financial burden before Him, let your heart believe again. God is not blind to your need. God is not deaf to your cry. God is not distant from your pain. He is closer than fear wants you to believe, stronger than the problem standing in front of you, and faithful enough to carry what your hands can no longer hold, money worries may be loud, but God's promise is louder. When financial pressure comes, it does not usually come quietly. It speaks in the morning when you open your eyes. It speaks when you check your phone, when you look at your account, when a message comes reminding you of something unpaid, when a deadline is getting closer, when someone is depending on you, and when your mind begins to ask questions that your heart does not know how to answer. Money worries can become very noisy. They can fill your thoughts with fear. They can make your chest feel heavy. They can steal your sleep, and they can make even a peaceful room feel crowded with anxiety. But no matter how loud worry becomes, it is not stronger than the voice of God. Worry may shout, but God speaks with authority. Fear may repeat the problem, but God repeats his faithfulness. Anxiety may tell you that nothing will change, but God's promise tells you that he is still able, still present, still working, and still providing. There are times when worry tries to sound like truth. It tells you you will not make it. It tells you this situation is too big. It tells you you have prayed before, but nothing happened. It tells you there is no way out. And when you listen to that voice for too long, your faith can become weak, your hope can become tired, and your heart can begin to agree with fear. But you must remember that worry is not a prophet. Worry does not know your future. Worry does not know what God has prepared. Worry only speaks from what it sees right now. It looks at the bill. It looks at the shortage. It looks at the delay. It looks at the closed door. And then it tries to make a final judgment about your life. But God does not speak from limitation. God speaks from power. God speaks from eternity. God speaks from a place where your beginning and your ending are already known to him. When God gives a promise, he does not need the situation to look possible first. He does not wait for your account to be full before he says he can provide. He does not wait for every door to be open before he says he can make a way. He does not wait for people to agree before he decides to bless. God's promise is not controlled by your current condition. His word is not weakened by your financial report. His power is not reduced because your circumstances are complicated. If God has said he will never leave you, then even in lack, he is with you. If God has said he will provide, then even when you cannot see the provision yet, you can trust that he has not forgotten you. If God has said he cares for you, then even when worry is loud, you can rest in the truth that your life is held in his hands. Money worries become loud because they touch very personal areas of life. They touch your home, your family, your future, your dignity, your responsibility, and sometimes even your sense of worth. When financial pressure increases, people often begin to feel small. They may feel embarrassed, ashamed, or afraid to tell anyone what they are going through. They may compare themselves with others and wonder why life seems easier for someone else. They may look at their own effort and feel discouraged because they are working hard, trying hard, praying hard, and still facing pressure. But the promise of God speaks differently. God does not measure you by your current struggle. God does not reduce your value because you are facing a financial battle. God does not look at your temporary lack and call you a failure. He sees you as his child. He sees your effort. He sees your faith. He sees your pain. He sees your desire to do right. And he speaks over you with compassion, not condemnation. You must train your spirit to hear God's promise above the noise of fear. This does not mean pretending that the problem is not real. Faith is not denial. Faith does not say, there is no bill when there is a bill. Faith does not say, there is no debt when there is debt. Faith does not say, there is no pressure when the pressure is heavy. Faith says, yes, the problem is real, but God is greater. Yes, the need is urgent, but God is faithful. Yes, I do not know how everything will work out, but I know the one who holds my life. That is the difference between panic and faith. Panic only sees the problem. Faith sees God standing above the problem. Panic says, what if everything falls apart? Faith says, even if I walk through difficulty, God will not abandon me. Panic says, there is no answer. Faith says, God can create an answer where I cannot find one. Sometimes the loudest battle is not outside you, it is inside your mind. The numbers may be on paper, but the fear is in the heart. The deadline may be on the calendar, but the anxiety is in the soul. That is why God's promise must be spoken again and again until it becomes louder within you than the fear around you. You may need to remind yourself, God is my provider. You may need to say, God knows what I need. You may need to whisper, I will not be destroyed by this season. You may need to declare, my life is not controlled by lack. My life is in the hands of God. the more you fill your heart with the truth of God, the less space fear has to control your thoughts. There is power in choosing what voice you will believe. Every day, two voices may speak to you. One voice says, be afraid. Another voice says, trust God. One voice says, you are alone. Another voice says, I am with you. One voice says, this is the end. Another voice says, I can make all things new. One voice speaks from worry, but the other speaks from the promise of God. And you must decide which voice will guide your heart. If you keep listening to fear, you will become weaker. If you keep listening to God's promise, your faith will begin to rise again. God's promise is louder because it carries peace, it carries strength, it carries hope, it carries the reminder that your financial situation is not the final authority over your life. The final authority belongs to God. Money can change, circumstances can change, jobs can change, opportunities can change, people can change. But God's faithfulness does not change. The same God who carried you through past struggles can carry you through this one. The same God who opened doors before can open doors again. The same God who gave you strength when you were weak can give you strength now. The same God who made a way when you thought there was no way can surprise you again with his goodness. So when worry becomes loud, do not answer it with panic. Answer it with faith. When fear says you will not survive this, answer, God is my helper. When anxiety says nothing is changing, answer, God is working even when I cannot see it. When pressure says, you are finished, answer, God is not finished with me. Let the promise of God rise in your heart like a stronger sound, a holy sound, a sound that pushes back fear and reminds your spirit that you are not alone. Your financial worry may be speaking loudly tonight, but God's promise is speaking louder, calling you back to peace, back to trust, back to hope, and back to the faith that believes He can still change your story. This prayer is not a magic formula. It is a moment of surrender and faith. It is important to understand this deeply because many people come to prayer when the pain becomes too heavy, when the pressure becomes too strong, when the situation becomes too confusing, and when every human way seems closed. They come with tears, with worry, with fear, and sometimes with desperation. And there is nothing wrong with coming to God in desperation, because God welcomes the broken heart, God listens to the tired soul, and God receives the person who has no strength left. But prayer is not a button we press to control God. Prayer is not a secret code we repeat to force heaven to move. Prayer is not a transaction where we give words and immediately demand a result. True prayer is deeper than that. True prayer is the place where a human heart stops fighting alone and finally says, God, I need you. I trust you. I surrender this burden into your hands. When we speak about a financial miracle, we must be careful that our hearts do not treat God only as a source of money. God is much greater than provision, but He is also love enough to care about our needs. He knows when the bills are heavy. He knows when the salary is not enough. He knows when debt is pressing your mind. He knows when you are trying your best but still feel behind. He knows when your family is depending on you and you are silently asking, Lord, how can I carry all this? But even while God cares about your financial struggle, He also cares about your heart. He does not only want to change what is in your hand, He wants to heal what is in your soul. He does not only want to open a door outside you, He wants to build faith inside you. He does not only want to remove pressure, He wants to teach you how to trust Him even before the pressure disappears. Many people want prayer to work like a magic formula. They want to say the right words at the right time, in the right order, and then expect everything to change instantly. But faith is not magic. Faith is relationship. Magic tries to control power, but faith trusts the person. Magic says, if I say this, I must get that. Faith says, God, even before I see the answer, I believe you are good. Even before the door opens, my dear friends, I want to talk to you tonight about something very, very important. Right now, as the day is closing and the night is coming, many of you are carrying heavy, heavy burdens in your heart. You are thinking about tomorrow. You are worrying about your family, your finances, your health, your future. Your mind is racing. You cannot find peace. You try to sleep, but your eyes are open, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with problems that seem bigger than you. And I want to tell you something tonight that will change your life. There is a prayer, a simple but powerful prayer of surrender that you must pray before you close your eyes. This is not just another prayer. This is the prayer that transfers everything from your weak hands into the mighty hands of Almighty God. You see, God is waiting for you to let go. He is waiting for you to stop trying to be God in your own life. He is waiting for you to come to Him like a tired child and say, "Father, I cannot do this anymore. You take it, you handle it, I trust you." Tonight, your bedroom can become a holy altar. Your pillow can become a place of divine exchange. When you lay down your burdens in prayer, God picks them up. When you surrender your control, God releases His power. And while you sleep, yes, while you sleep, God is working. He is moving mountains, He is opening doors, He is fighting battles you cannot see. But it all begins with one decision. The decision to pray the prayer of surrender before you sleep tonight. My dear friends, let me speak to you about the weight of tomorrow, because I know what you are carrying tonight. I have been in ministry for many, many years, and I have seen the faces of thousands and thousands of people. And I can tell you this, the heaviest burden that people carry is not what happened yesterday, but what might happen tomorrow. You see, when the sun goes down and the world becomes quiet, that is when the voices in your mind become the loudest. That is when the worries you pushed aside during the busy day come rushing back like a flood. You lie down on your bed, you pull the covers over your body, but you cannot pull the covers over your anxious heart. Your body is in bed, but your mind is in tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. You are already living in a future that has not yet come, fighting battles that have not yet started, solving problems that may never exist. This is the weight of tomorrow, and it is crushing millions of people tonight, right now, all around the world. What are you worried about tonight? Is it your children? You are lying there thinking about their future, their education, their safety, their choices. You wonder if they will be okay, if they will make good decisions, if they will survive in this difficult world. You think about the dangers they might face, the mistakes they might make, and your heart becomes tight, tight, tight with fear. Or maybe it is your finances. You are calculating numbers in your head, adding and subtracting, wondering how you will pay the bills, how you will make it through the month, how you will ever get out of debt. You see the bank account getting lower, the expenses getting higher, and you feel like you are drowning in a sea of financial pressure. Every time you close your eyes, you see bills, bills, bills. Or perhaps it is your health. You felt something strange in your body today, a pain, a discomfort, and now your mind is racing to the worst possible conclusion. You are diagnosing yourself with terrible diseases, imagining hospital visits, treatments, suffering. Or maybe you already have a diagnosis, and you are lying there tonight, wondering how long you have, how much you will suffer, whether God has forgotten about you. Some of you are carrying the weight of broken relationships. You had an argument today, or last week, or last year, and it is still heavy on your heart. You are replaying the conversation over and over, thinking about what you should have said, what you should not have said, wondering if that person will ever forgive you, if things will ever be the same again. The weight of unforgiveness, the weight of broken fellowship, the weight of loneliness. It is all pressing down on you tonight. Others are worried about their jobs, their careers, their purpose. You do not know if your job is secure. You do not know if you made the right career choice. You do not know if you are doing what God called you to do. You feel stuck, confused, directionless, and every night you go to bed wondering if you are wasting your life, if you are missing God's plan, if it is too late to start over. And then there are those secret worries, the ones you do not tell anyone about. The fears that you are too ashamed to speak out loud. The what-ifs that torture you in the darkness. What if I fail? What if I am not good enough? What if people find out the truth about me? What if I lose everything? What if God is disappointed in me? What if my prayers are not answered? What if? This is the weight of tomorrow, my friends. It is the burden of uncertainty, the pressure of responsibility, the fear of the unknown future. And here is what happens when you carry this weight into your sleep. You do not really rest. Your body may be lying down, but your soul is standing up, pacing back and forth, wrestling with invisible enemies. You wake up tired because you never truly rested. You wake up anxious because you went to sleep anxious. You wake up defeated because you spent the whole night fighting battles in your mind. And the tragic thing, the truly tragic thing, is that all this worry, all this mental wrestling, all this midnight anxiety does not change anything. It does not solve a single problem. It does not add a single day to your life. It does not pay a single bill. It does not heal a single disease. It does not fix a single relationship. All it does is steal your peace, rob your rest, and weaken your faith. Jesus said it very clearly. Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life? The answer is nobody. Worry is completely powerless. It cannot create, it cannot heal, it cannot provide, it cannot protect. It is the most useless activity in the human experience, and yet we do it constantly, habitually, religiously. We worry as if it is our job, as if God needs our worry to remind Him to take care of us. But listen to me very carefully tonight. God does not need your worry. He does not need your anxiety. He does not need you to stay awake all night trying to figure everything out. What He wants, what He is waiting for, what He is longing for is your surrender. He wants you to bring that weight of tomorrow to Him before you sleep tonight. He wants you to verbally, consciously, deliberately hand over every single burden, every single fear, every single worry into His mighty hands. Because here is the truth that will set you free. The God who created the universe, the God who holds the stars in place, the God who knows the number of hairs on your head, the God who sent His only Son to die for you. This God is not sleeping tonight. He is not worried about tomorrow. He is not anxious about your future. He already knows what will happen. He already has the solution. He already prepared the way. And He is simply waiting for you to trust Him enough to let go of the weight you were never meant to carry. My dear friends, key point number 2 is the invitation to release. And this invitation comes from the very heart of God Himself. From the beginning of time, God has never intended human beings to live under constant pressure, fear, and self-made responsibility. Yet, so many people believe that worrying is a sign of responsibility and surrendering is a sign of weakness. This is one of the greatest misunderstandings in spiritual life. Let me tell you clearly, surrender is not weakness. Surrender is faith at its highest level. When God invites you to release your burdens before sleep, He is not asking you to give up because you are failing. He is asking you to trust Him because He is faithful. Whether you realize it or not, God stands at the door of your heart and gently knocks, not with judgment, not with anger, but with love, saying, "Give it to me." He sees the weight you are carrying. He sees the fear behind your brave face. He sees the tears you cry in silence. And He does not say, "Fix yourself first and then come." He says, "Come as you are, tired, confused, overburdened, and lay it all down." This invitation is repeated again and again throughout your life. But at night, when everything becomes quiet, God's voice becomes clearer. He is calling you to release control, to stop holding what you were never meant to hold. You see, the human heart was never designed to be a storage house for anxiety. That is why worry makes you sick, restless, exhausted. When you try to carry tomorrow alone, you are stepping into a role that belongs only to God. And God, in His mercy, invites you to step out of that role and let Him be who He already is. The invitation to release is deeply personal. God is not asking you to surrender some general idea of worry. He is asking you to name your burdens and place them into His hands one by one. Your job, your children, your marriage, your finances, your health, your unanswered prayers. Many people pray vague prayers and wonder why they never experience peace. But surrender requires honesty. It requires you to say, God, this is the thing I cannot control, and I am tired of pretending that I can. When you do this, something spiritual happens. There is a transfer. The moment you release, God receives. The moment you let go, heaven steps in. But people struggle with this invitation because they fear what will happen if they surrender. They think, if I stop worrying, things will fall apart. But the truth is, things are already falling apart under worry. Worry does not protect you, it paralyzes you. Control does not empower you, it suffocates you. God is not taking control away from you to harm you, He is taking it to heal you. When a child falls asleep in the arms of a loving father, the child does not worry about who will guard the house or prepare tomorrow. The child rests because trust is complete. This is the kind of surrender God is inviting you into before sleep. Not forced surrender, not religious surrender, but relational surrender. A surrender that is born out of knowing who God is. When you truly believe that God is good, surrender becomes natural. When you truly believe that God is wise, surrender becomes logical. When you truly believe that God loves you, surrender becomes safe. But when these truths are only in your head and not in your heart, surrender feels dangerous. That is why God invites you gently, patiently, again and again, night after night. He does not rush you. He waits. He understands your fear. He understands that you have been hurt before, disappointed before, let down before. But He asks you to trust Him, not based on your past experiences, but based on His unchanging character. Another reason people resist this invitation is because surrender feels like the end, while in reality it is the beginning. They think, if I surrender, then nothing will happen. But surrender is not passivity, it is alignment. When you release control, you align yourself with divine order. You stop fighting what God is trying to fix. You stop blocking what God is trying to flow into your life. Many blessings are delayed not because God is unwilling, but because hearts are clenched too tightly around fear and self-effort. The invitation to release is God's way of saying, open your hands so I can fill them. Closed fists cannot receive. Closed hearts cannot rest. Release is the doorway to peace, and peace is the environment where God works best in your life. That is why sleep becomes a spiritual act when you surrender before it. Sleep says, I trust you more than I trust my thoughts. It says, I believe you are working even when I am not. God does not need you awake to move mountains. He needs you trusting. And trust expresses itself most purely at night when you choose rest over fear. This invitation is not meant to be a one-time emotional moment. It is meant to become a nightly habit. Just as you brush your teeth and turn off the lights, you learn to release your burdens. Over time, this practice reshapes your heart. You become less anxious, less reactive, less fearful. Not because problems disappear, but because your relationship with God deepens. You begin to understand that life is not held together by your effort, but by God's grace. And when this realization settles into your soul, sleep becomes sweet again. Your bed becomes a place of peace, not torment. Your nights become a sanctuary instead of a battlefield, and slowly, gently, your life begins to change. Not because you fought harder, but because you trusted deeper and learned to answer God's loving invitation to release everything into His hands. My dear friends, let me share with you something very precious tonight. Because many people think prayer must happen only in a special place, at a special time, with special conditions. And they do not realize that God is not limited by walls, and heaven is not restricted by location. You may be sitting in a beautiful church, or you may be in a small room, you may be in a crowded apartment, you may be alone in a quiet space, but wherever you are, if your heart turns to God, that place becomes holy. That is why I say your bedroom can become a sacred altar, because at night, when the noise of the world becomes silent, when the phone stops ringing, when the demands of people fade away, the soul finally has a chance to speak, and God has a chance to meet you in a very intimate way. Many people carry their best clothes to worship, but they bring their heaviest burdens to bed, and they lie down with a heart full of pressure and a mind full of fear. They think the bed is only for sleep, but I want you to see it differently. Tonight, your bed can become the place where you stop fighting and start trusting, where you stop holding and start releasing, where you stop trying to control tomorrow and start giving tomorrow to God. An altar is a place of exchange. You bring something to the altar and you leave something there. You do not go to an altar to admire it. You go to surrender. You go to lay down what you cannot keep, and you receive what you cannot create. In the same way, when you kneel beside your bed, or even when you lie down and whisper your prayer with tears, you are coming to an altar because you are not just speaking words into the air, you are placing your burdens into the hands of the living God. And do you know what makes this so powerful? It is that God meets you in the ordinary. He comes into the place where you are most human. In the bedroom, you are not performing for anyone. You are not impressing anyone. You are not trying to look strong. You are simply you, tired, honest, vulnerable. This is the perfect place for a true surrender, because surrender must be real, not religious. If you only surrender with your mouth, but your heart remains clenched, you will not experience peace. But when you come to God at night, when you are worn out, when your strength is low, when you can no longer pretend, then your surrender becomes pure. And that is why the bedroom becomes sacred, because it becomes a place where masks fall off and faith rises up. Many people think a sacred place must be clean and perfect, but I tell you, the sacred place is the place where God is welcomed. Even if your room is small, even if it is messy, even if there are things you do not like about your life, when you invite God into that space, the atmosphere changes. The air becomes different. The heart becomes lighter. The mind becomes quieter. You see, the presence of God is not only for the sanctuary, it is for your daily life. And nighttime is one of the most strategic moments for spiritual victory, because the enemy loves the night. He loves the silence because he can whisper lies. He loves the darkness because he can magnify fear. He loves bedtime because he can replay your failures and threaten your future. But when you turn your bedroom into an altar, you are saying, no, this night will not be a place of torment. This night will be a place of encounter. You are saying, my mind will not be a battlefield tonight. My room will be a worship place tonight. And when you do that, even your pillow becomes a testimony. Your pillow becomes the place of divine exchange, where you lay down your worry and you receive His peace, where you lay down your weakness and you receive His strength, where you lay down your confusion and you receive His guidance. Some people ask, how can something so simple be so powerful? My friend, the greatest miracles often begin with simple faith. When you make that small decision, when you say, before I sleep, I will surrender, you are taking back authority over your night. You are telling your emotions, you will not lead me. You are telling your thoughts, you will not control me. You are telling your fear, you will not rule me. And you are telling God, you are welcome here. This is why I love the image of an altar, because an altar is not about feelings. It is about decision. You may not feel peace immediately, but you decide to surrender. You may still feel heavy, but you decide to release. You may still have unanswered questions, but you decide to trust. And that decision opens the door for God to work deeply in you. You see, many people try to sleep first and pray later. But when you pray first, sleep becomes different. Your spirit settles down. Your heart stops chasing tomorrow. Your body begins to relax because the soul has been comforted. This is not imagination. This is spiritual reality. When you surrender, you are not just calming yourself, You are aligning yourself with God's order. You are saying, I am not the savior of my life. I am not the controller of my destiny. I am not the one who holds everything together. And that confession is very powerful, because pride keeps people restless, but humility brings rest. Pride says, I must figure it out. Humility says, God knows. Pride says, I must carry it. Humility says, God can carry me. And when you practice this night after night, your bedroom becomes a training ground for trust. The world trains you to worry, but the altar trains you to believe. The world teaches you to hold tighter, but the altar teaches you to open your hands. The world tells you, if you do not control it, it will collapse. But the altar teaches you, even if you release it, God will sustain it. Think about this, my friends. The most helpless position for a human being is sleep. When you sleep, you are not protecting yourself. You are not planning. You are not defending. You are not managing. You are completely dependent. That is why sleep with surrender becomes worship. It becomes the loudest declaration of trust you can make. You are saying, God, I will close my eyes because I believe you are watching. You are saying, God, I will rest because I believe you are working. You are saying, God, I will stop because I believe you are able. And this is why the bedroom altar is so precious. It is the place where you practice dependence, where you let God be God, where you hand Him the keys of your heart, your home, your tomorrow. Tonight, do not let your bed be a place where you bring your burdens and keep them. Let it be an altar where you bring your burdens and leave them. Speak to God simply. Tell Him what is heavy. Name it. My dear friend, don't ignore this message. Don't pass by this moment as if it is just another video, just another prayer, just another voice speaking into the night. There are moments in life when God allows a word to come to you at the very time your heart is heavy, your mind is tired, and your spirit is quietly crying for help. Maybe today you are carrying a burden that nobody can see. Maybe you are smiling in front of people, but inside your heart there is pressure. You are thinking about bills, debt, family needs, delayed payments, closed doors, lost opportunities, and the question that keeps coming again and again. Lord, when will this change? But listen carefully, beloved. Your financial struggle is not hidden from God. Your tears are not wasted. Your prayers are not forgotten. The pressure you feel right now may be heavy, but it is not stronger than the hand of God. The door may look closed in front of you, but God is not limited by locked doors. When human ways are finished, divine ways can begin. When people say there is no answer, God can still make a way. When your account looks empty, your hope does not have to become empty. When your strength is low, faith can still rise again. Tonight, I want you to listen not with fear, but with expectation. This is not about chasing money. This is not about greed. This is about asking God for provision, wisdom, peace, favor, and open doors. It is about bringing your worries before the one who knows what you need before you even speak. Sometimes the miracle begins when your heart stops fighting alone and starts surrendering everything into God's hands. Sometimes the breakthrough starts with one honest prayer, one quiet moment, one sincere cry from the deepest place of your soul. Maybe you have tried many things. Maybe you have worked hard, waited long, applied, planned, borrowed, helped others, sacrificed, and still you feel stuck. But I want to tell you today, being delayed does not mean being denied. Being under pressure does not mean you are abandoned. God can use one opportunity, one phone call, one idea, one person, one open door, one unexpected favor to change the direction of your life. What looks impossible to you is still possible with God. So before you worry again, before you sleep with fear again, before you allow anxiety to control your mind again, pause for this prayer. Open your heart. Let your faith breathe again. Let your soul become quiet before God. Do not say, nothing will happen. Do not say, it is too late for me. Do not say, my situation can never change. Speak faith over your life. Speak hope over your future. Speak trust over your finances. The same God who provides for the birds of the air, the same God who opens rivers in dry places, the same God who makes a way in the wilderness is still able to provide for you. My friend, your financial miracle may not always come in the way you expect, but God knows the way that is best. He may give you wisdom. He may give you favor. He may give you discipline. He may send help. He may open a new opportunity. He may bring peace first and then provision after. But one thing is sure. When you place your burden in God's hands, you are no longer carrying it alone. So stay with me now. Don't ignore this moment. Listen with faith. Pray with expectation. Believe that God has seen your struggle, heard your cry, and knows exactly what you need. Tonight, we are going to pray for financial doors to open, for fear to leave, for wisdom to come, for peace to fill your heart, and for God's provision to begin moving in your life in the right way, at the right time, according to His perfect will. My dear friend, this message is not an accident. You did not come across this prayer by mistake. You did not open this video at the wrong time. You did not hear these words by chance. Sometimes when the heart is tired, when the mind is full of worry, when the soul is silently asking for help, God allows a message to come at the exact moment when we need strength again. Maybe you thought you simply clicked on a video, but perhaps heaven was arranging a moment of encouragement for your heart. Perhaps God knew that tonight you needed to hear that you are not alone. He knew the questions you have been carrying. He knew the pressure you have been hiding. He knew the fear that comes when bills are waiting. Responsibilities are increasing, and your strength feels smaller than the problems in front of you. Before you even spoke, before you even explained your situation to anyone, God already saw it. He saw the worry behind your smile. He saw the heaviness behind your silence. He saw the times you checked your account and felt your heart become weak. He saw the moments when you wondered how you would manage, how you would provide, how you would move forward, how you would survive this season. There are moments in life when a person looks strong outside, but inside there is a battle nobody understands. People may see you working, moving, speaking, smiling, helping others, but they may not know the silent questions living inside your heart. They may not know how many times you have prayed quietly, Lord, please make a way. They may not know how many nights you have turned from one side to another, trying to sleep while your mind was calculating, worrying, planning, and fearing. But God knows. God knows every detail. He knows the debt. He knows the delay. He knows the pressure. He knows the family responsibility. He knows the unexpected expense. He knows the opportunity that did not work out. He knows the door that was closed. He knows the disappointment that made you wonder whether anything would ever change. And because He knows, He can meet you exactly where you are. Do not ignore this moment. Sometimes the answer from God does not begin with thunder from the sky. Sometimes it begins with a simple word that touches your spirit. Sometimes it begins with a prayer that reminds you to breathe again. Sometimes it begins with one message that pulls you back from fear and places your heart again in faith. You may be saying, I have heard many messages before. I have prayed many prayers before. I have hoped many times before. Yes, my friend, but do not allow past disappointment to make you close your heart to present encouragement. Just because something did not happen yesterday does not mean God is not working today. Just because a door did not open last month does not mean every door is permanently closed. Just because you have been waiting does not mean you have been forgotten. Waiting is painful, but waiting is not abandonment. Delay is difficult, but delay is not denial. Silence can feel heavy, but silence does not mean God is absent. This message came to remind you that your life is still in the hands of God. Your financial situation may look uncertain, but your future is not controlled by fear. Your bank balance may speak one thing, but God's promise can speak something higher. Your circumstances may be telling you that there is no way, but faith whispers that God can still make a way. This is why you must not treat this moment lightly. When your heart is open, God can use even one prayer to shift your thinking, renew your courage, calm your emotions, and prepare you for the next step. Many people miss encouragement because they are looking only for instant answers. They want the whole mountain to move immediately, but sometimes God first strengthens the person who must face the mountain. Sometimes He gives peace before provision. Sometimes He gives wisdom before increase. Sometimes He gives direction before the open door. Sometimes He removes fear before He changes the situation, because when fear controls the heart, even blessings can be difficult to recognize. Listen carefully. This prayer is not magic. It is not a secret formula. It is not about forcing God to do what we want. It is about surrender. It is about saying, Lord, I cannot carry this alone anymore. I place my burden in your hands. Teach me, guide me, provide for me, and open the right door according to your will. That kind of prayer has power because it comes from humility. It comes from trust. It comes from a heart that is tired of fighting alone and ready to lean on God. When you pray like that, something begins to change inside you. Your mind becomes quieter. Your heart becomes softer. Your faith begins to breathe again. You begin to remember that you are not an orphan in this world. You are not fighting without help. You are not walking without heaven seeing you. God is not far from the person who calls upon Him with sincerity. Maybe you are listening to this because you are at the edge of giving up. Maybe you have been trying to stay strong, but deep inside you feel exhausted. Maybe you are saying, I do not need luxury. I just need peace. I just need stability. I just need enough to take care of my family. I just need one door to open. My friend, God understands that cry. He is not blind to your need. He is not careless with your tears. He is not ignoring your struggle. There are times when we think God must act in one particular way, through one particular person, through one particular opportunity, but God is not limited to our small understanding. He can send help from a place you never expected. He can give you an idea you never considered. He can connect you with someone at the right moment. He can give you favor in a conversation. He can protect you from a wrong opportunity and prepare a better one. He can teach you discipline, wisdom, patience, and courage, so that when the door opens, you are ready to walk through it. So do not say, this is just another video. Do not say, this is just another prayer. Do not say, nothing will change. Those words may come from pain, but they do not have to become your belief. Pain speaks loudly, but faith must speak louder. Fear speaks quickly, but prayer must answer with trust. Worry says, what if everything fails? Faith says, even now, God is able. Anxiety says, you are alone. Prayer says, the Lord is with me. Pressure says, there is no way. Hope says, God can open a door no one can shut. You must allow the right voice to become stronger inside you. The enemy of peace wants you to focus only on shortage, only on debt, only on delay, only on fear. But God wants your eyes to lift again. He wants your heart to remember that provision is not only money. Provision can be wisdom. Provision can be strength. Provision can be discipline. Provision can be favor. Provision can be protection. Provision can be guidance away from loss and toward what is right. This message is reaching you because your heart needs to be reminded that your story is not finished. You may be in a chapter of struggle, but struggle is not the whole book. You may be in a season of pressure, but pressure is not your final identity. You may be walking through lack, but lack does not have the final word over your life. God can use this very season to build something deeper in you. Stronger faith, greater wisdom, a more disciplined mind, a more grateful heart, a more prayerful spirit. And when the door opens, you will not only receive provision, you will also carry testimony. You will be able to say, I was afraid, but God gave me peace. I was weak, but God strengthened me. I was confused, but God guided me. I was under pressure, but God did not leave me. That is why this moment matters. That is why you must listen with faith. That is why you must not ignore the gentle invitation of God, calling your heart away from fear and back into trust. My dear friend, God has seen your financial pressure. He has seen the burden that sits quietly inside your heart. The kind of burden you cannot always explain to people because you do not want them to worry and because sometimes you feel they may not understand the depth of what you are carrying. He has seen the nights when your body was tired, but your mind would not rest. He has seen you lying awake, looking at the ceiling, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about payments, thinking about family responsibilities, thinking about what must be done and what you do not yet have in your hands. He has seen the moments when you tried to be strong in front of others, but inside your spirit was asking, Lord, how long? Lord, how will I manage? Lord, where will the answer come from? And I want you to know today, those silent cries did not disappear into empty air. Heaven heard them. God heard them. The tears you wiped away before anyone could see were not hidden from Him. The sighs that came from your chest when words could no longer explain your pain were understood by Him. Sometimes financial pressure becomes more than just a money problem. It becomes an emotional weight. It touches your peace. It touches your confidence. It touches your sleep. It touches your relationships. It touches the way you think about the future. You may wake up in the morning and before you even start your day, worry is already waiting for you. You may try to focus, but your mind keeps returning to the same questions. How will this bill be paid? How will this debt be cleared? How will I support my family? How will I handle this emergency? How will I recover from this setback? And when these questions come again and again, the heart becomes tired. But listen carefully, beloved. God does not look at you with judgment because you are worried. He looks at you with compassion because He knows you are human. He knows the pressure is real. He knows the responsibility is heavy. He knows that when money becomes tight, even simple things can feel difficult. He knows that sometimes you are not asking for luxury. You are only asking for breathing space, peace of mind, and enough strength to keep going. God has seen the unpaid bills that made your heart tremble. He has seen the messages you delayed opening because you already knew they were about payment. He has seen the calls you avoided because you did not know what answer to give. He has seen the times you calculated again and again, hoping that somehow the numbers would become easier. He has seen the sacrifices you made quietly, the things you wanted but did not buy, the needs you postponed, the dreams you delayed, the comfort you gave up, so that someone else could be okay. People may not know these sacrifices. People may only see the outside of your life. But God sees the full picture. He sees the pressure behind your decisions. He sees the love behind your sacrifice. He sees the responsibility behind your worry. He sees the tiredness behind your smile. And because God sees, you must not believe the lie that you are forgotten. Your mind under pressure can begin to think dangerous thoughts. It can say, nobody cares, nothing will change. I am alone. I am failing. I cannot come out of this. But those thoughts are not the truth of God over your life. They are the voice of fear speaking through pain. The truth is that God is near to the brokenhearted. The truth is that God understands the cry of the one who has no strength left. The truth is that God is not absent just because the answer has not yet appeared. Sometimes we measure God's presence by how fast the situation changes, but God may be present even while the situation is still difficult. He may be strengthening you while you are waiting. He may be teaching you wisdom while you are praying. He may be protecting you from a wrong step while you are asking for any open door. He may be preparing the right opportunity while you are still looking at closed doors. My friend, do not be ashamed of your struggle. Financial pressure does not mean you are weak. It does not mean God has rejected you. It does not mean your faith is dead. Many faithful people pass through seasons where resources are low, responsibilities are high, and the future looks uncertain. But the difference is this. When a child of God passes through pressure, that pressure does not have the final authority. God still has the final authority. Lack may speak, but God speaks louder. Debt may threaten, but God remains greater. Delay may discourage, but God still knows the appointed time. Closed doors may disappoint you, but God knows how to open doors that no person can shut. Your situation may be difficult, but it is not bigger than the one who holds your life. There are tears that only God understands. There are prayers that have no beautiful words, only a tired heart. There are moments when all you can say is, Lord, help me. And I want to tell you that simple prayer is powerful. You do not need perfect language to reach God. You do not need a strong voice. You do not need to pretend that everything is fine. Come to Him honestly. Tell Him, Lord, I am worried. Lord, I am tired. Lord, I need wisdom. Lord, I need provision. Lord, I need a way. Lord, I need peace. God is not offended by your honesty. He invites it. He wants you to bring the whole burden to Him, not only the part that sounds spiritual. Bring the fear. Bring the confusions. Bring the pressure. Bring the tears. Bring the numbers that do not add up. Bring the responsibilities that feel too heavy. Bring the disappointment of the doors that did not open. Bring the pain of waiting. Bring it all before Him. But when you bring it to God, do not only bring your worry, bring your trust also. Say, Lord, I do not understand everything, but I trust you. I do not see the way yet, but I believe you can make a way.